Positive, as in what Philip was saying, if you email and say an event is happening, like you were saying, how do you get it on TV? It will be printed out, it will be put into a folder, and it will at least be read for consideration that someone cares about something. And I agree, if you don't like the coverage of the CAM trial, and they were to get let me say something. If they got 3 emails saying we don't like the CAM trial, they might think about stop covering it, because TV reacts to emails like that. They think one email represents 100 people. We know that's ridiculous, but it shows you the impact that it can have. And I think that's what's so interesting about TV is people think there's bias and it's built in, but the true thing is it's people trying to reach deadline, and they think, what story can we get done by 6 o'clock? And if you answer your phone when we're trying to do a story, we're probably going to interview you. And if we don't, we're not biased that we didn't want to come to you. It's the fact that you didn't answer your phone and I got to go write something. Right? And that's what's so interesting about TV.
And that explains why you see certain people on TV, like Christopher 2X, more than others.
Absolutely.
Because he will answer their calls.
He will call you.
The same people. Oh, yeah, he'll call you. he'll run you down for the story.
You're like, I'm at the front door.
But and I look in the back and I see Sean Gardner, and I think about his movement. And he was someone who I found out about, and when I still worked at Leo, and we did a cover story on him. Part of the reason was it was someone I felt like no one was doing a story on. But now he sort of is built in, right? He's someone who people know who he is. I'm sure folks up here have his numbers. He has media folks' numbers. The reason why you see the media function the way it is honestly very little to do with the reporters. It's who answers the phone call. It's who wants. The same people who complain about the media are the same people who don't want to talk to the media.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the remarkable part about it. I was at a forum with Councilman David James, and they were talking about the heavy police effort in Victory Park. And there were dozens of residents, who were upset about what they felt was overbearing policing, who are basically harassing, stopping, and frisking innocent people because of the area that they lived in. But when you would pull people to the side and say, hey, I'm with public radio, can we talk to you just real fast about what your meeting, what your thought was on the meeting? No, I can't do that. I don't want to talk. There's a fear built, and part of that fear is our responsibility. Part of that fear is our fault. If you're someone who you watch the news and the way we cover things, you have a fear of you really don't get the story. You're not going to cover it in that way. You're going to get it wrong. So part of what we have to do, I think, is in this forum and in other forums, not just in downtown, but in other parts of the community, is to be honest with folks, to be more open with folks about what we do, and to be better ambassadors. To admit the way we cover certain things is just dumb and wrong. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. That's not mean I'm a bad journalist, that doesn't mean my producer's a bad person, but there are just some things, like Adam said, we're meeting deadlines. We're not thinking about, yeah, we should cover this in a better way. And I think that's a part of what these forums have to do, and maybe in the question and answer part, you all feedback on that, but I think that's an important part for all of us to realize is that we work for you, at the same time you work for us. You as a citizen are responsible for the media that you consume, and you have to do better.
And I think also to go off, sorry, I don't mean to go back and forth.
Oh, this is great. Go, keep going.
The interesting thing is, you brought this up earlier. Someone said, there are good stories and there are bad stories. And I think the issue with that is the words used to describe it. It should be lazy stories and effort stories. The reason that you see so much murder on the news, to be honest, is because the story is hand-delivered to us. The woman in the back, who's absolutely incredible, her name is Sharrell, she works the desk for us. She can hear on a police scanner, we've got a shooting going on. She tells everybody else there's a shooting. We know where it is. We know there's going to be a public information officer there to talk to us. It is a story with sound and video and bright lights hand-delivered to us. It is the easiest story to do ever. The hard story is to come in with an idea, find your own people to talk to, and then get that done in an 8-hour workday. And so really, it's lazy reporting to cover murders. If we were to do a story... Thank you, Philip. That felt good. But it's the truth.
Okay. On some things it is. On some murders they're very easy. And depending on, without being insensitive to the situations that many people go to, and with the people who are actually dealing with this, there are some that are very easy. You go on the scene, within minutes you have someone screaming, they killed my baby, okay, well, it's a homicide. All right, there's the family, there's all the video, the police are there, it's done. But some are much harder. Speaking as someone whose hoofed around knocking on doors in 100-degree weather.
Yeah.
They're not all easy. And I don't do them because I like them. I hate stories about dead people, I can't stand them. But you get assigned them. But the other reason is, it's not just that it's perceived to be an easy story, it'll also be the top story on the web that day. It'll get, whatever's considered high web traffic. 100,000 people will click on it in a day. People will watch it. There are studies they do, and they spend so much money on these studies with what viewers like and what the ratings are. Every day, people tune in to these stories. People click on it. So as much as people say they hate these negative news, it is what they respond to. And our bosses want to know what people respond to because that's what advertisers will pay to see, and that's what will get your ratings every day. Literally, they get ratings every night. Every day with the next morning meeting, they come in with the ratings of who had the top show yesterday, what station led at 5 o'clock, what station led at 11. Oh, we were doing really well until about 15 minutes in, then all our viewers turned the channel. Why did they turn the channel? What happened 15 minutes in? Oh, well, we had that story about that dog that lost a leg. Okay, viewers hate pet stories. No more pet stories. We're not doing any more pet stories.
You know, dog stories always do.
I shouldn't say dog stories, but we do love dog stories. Or even 5:30. Oh, we ran a dog story at 5:30. That doesn't work at 5:30. Only the 6 o'clock viewers like dog stories. We don't do that. That is the kind of conversation that happens in these newsrooms. And so realistically, the same way Philip was saying, if you don't like the news you're given, respond to it. And I mean, really, that's what happens, because every single day we have bosses that are trying to react to what they think you want. And usually they are wrong, but they don't know this. And what will tell them the difference with this is the numbers. So if people literally reject this, like if you reject the murder stories and the negative stories, then we won't do them anymore because they won't make us any money. And if they have no money, I mean, it's a sad reality of it, especially with TV news. It is every day about who you can get to advertise, who's got the top shows. And so if you don't want to see it, turn off the channel and turn on the news that you want to see. Click on the stories on the web that you feel are positive, and resist the urge to find out about the quadruple homicide that happened.
Well, the other thing is they track us by, because I've said before, well, who cares about that? And they'll say, well, we got 1,000 clicks on that on the Facebook page or on our website. So they can track in a number of ways. But I disagree with, I think Philip's saying, if it doesn't affect anybody, that triple murder in the Parkland neighborhood, not West Louisville, but the Parkland neighborhood, it did not affect a lot of people. However, everybody was talking about it. And I stayed, I know you were there too, a lot of us stayed at work all day because of that. And I didn't really care about the fact that I was supposed to go home or go see my wife speak at a graduation at Moore. That was my community, and I took a lot of pride in delivering the news and telling people what was going on. And I think about 100 or 200 people posted something on Facebook about it as well.
We're going to get to, I'm going to ask this last question. We're going to get to a question and answer part. And I wanted to, you know what, it's funny how things go. You were talking about how people can kind of change the dial on whether something gets covered or, by their participation or non-participation. It's the same thing in like a jury trial, right? I've had people get in front of juries and they'll say in front of everyone, well, the old Tupac line, only God can judge me, but I can't participate in this thing. And then they wonder why the jury looks like they do. And it's because people don't want to participate. And that's like, it's interesting how it, kind of goes hand in hand. But I wanted to see, I think, I've always wanted to know this, and I guess WDRB has got to stand against this. What determines breaking news? Because I was looking on, my wife and I were looking on watching TV, and I every 5 seconds was, what's that guy's name, John Paul or Bill? Yeah, John Paul, I'm sorry. He was the Iron Man. But, yeah. Johnny Walker Iron Man. But, no, every 5 seconds when they came on, they would keep saying breaking news, and we're like, we know it's raining, man. We know it's a flood. That was like 2 hours ago. What determines breaking news?
I think that's a management question too, because seriously, we don't decide what's breaking news, what's continuing coverage. we cover the news, they put those titles or labels up there. So people ask me all the time, was that breaking news? And I go, I don't know, go ask my manager.
I saw somebody on Facebook
Right,
saying
I ignored them.
them.
Right, I just ignored them because I didn't make that decision, so I'm not answering the question.
Devon is right. It is not our decision to decide what is breaking news. As a matter of fact, at Fox, we never say breaking news. I don't know if you've seen our advertisement. It got national news because we don't use that term at our station because, like he was saying, it's been raining for 3 hours. In no way, shape, or form is that news breaking. In very rare instances, like Prince Louis Edward, when the royal family had their baby, that was breaking news when it happened. It wasn't breaking news 3 hours, 4 hours later. As it's happening, it's breaking news. We don't get to make that decision, but as our commercial explains, we
The responsibility, once again, is on the audience. Your reaction to that story. Don't tell me I can't say the person committing the crime is black. The real question is, does it have anything to do with black people as a whole? Was it that crazy dude? And maybe you shouldn't date a drug dealer. Maybe that, help you not get shot. So.
Well, ma'am, thanks for that question. I want to just answer that because I think it is relevant. You ask how it affects us. Well, I still got up, drove the same car, have the same house. You probably can tell I spend a lot of time in the barbershop. When I went to the barbershop on Friday, my barber prides herself on saying, I don't watch the news. When I first met her, she said, you look familiar. And I said, well, I'm on TV. She said, I don't watch the news. Well, Friday when I went in there, she was really emotional. And she said, this shutdown, I've been watching a lot of news lately because I got a friend who's paycheck to paycheck and she's about to lose her car and she's a single mom and she works for the government. She went to work on Tuesday and they sent her home. And so I really didn't feel like talking. I was telling Sean Gardner, because that Friday my son made me really mad. But as soon as she told me that, I started looking up stories and I started trying to answer her question and give her some insight on when it might end. And she said, well, we're all going to take up a collection and try to help her out. So I was just wondering, if we're going to have to do this again. And so as I was leaving, I said, this
Your entire section of the city, I think that was the best thing you said was, because I've never thought about that. I don't cover a lot of news, so I don't pay attention to the news, and that's going to sound really, really bad. I don't like local news. I'll read stuff and I'll listen to stuff, but the local news, I'm a self-loathing journalist. I completely agree. The neighborhood should be the #1 thing. If we're going to break down what area of Middletown something happened in, we should be talking about what area of the West End. I completely agree.
I don't think it's nearly as bad, but I think the South End of Louisville gets the same kind of rap. There's several different neighborhoods within the South.
Stuff in this. It's the largest
It's
cave
amazing.
network in
It's
the
a great
entire
cave.
world. The whole world. It's the biggest cave network in the world, and it's closed. There are hundreds of park employees, and to me, that is how it affects me. I was so excited that this was something new that I could do. Like, it was so close. It was this new adventure I was going to do, and it is completely off limits. So that was, I would have told you up until that point that the government shutdown didn't really affect my life. But now I'm sitting up here, I'm like, okay, there's only X amount of good weather left this year. There's only how can I get in this cave before the end of the year? And I'm like counting it down, and now they're talking about it's gonna count extra weeks. I'm like, I'm not gonna get to see this cave before the end of the year. And to everyone else, it might seem like no big deal, but
He gets a free trip to the cave.
Limited edition. Limited edition. But yeah, I see Joe Lavel, my man. What's happening?
Hey, you might have about 3
And
weeks.
it's lovely white
The longest government shutdown, I believe, is the 73
What?
weeks.
Joe loves with one purpose.
Oh, I'm sorry, one purpose, I'm sorry. Joe Lavel, one purpose. What we're gonna do, if you have any questions that you wanna ask, if they wanna stick around, you can ask them personally. Some are gonna leave, some are gonna stay, but you'll have that opportunity. Right now,